decked it out, showed us all, had all he needed. Could park it anywhere, free as a bird. Chang bought a van and decked it out, showed us all, had all he needed. Could park it anywhere, free as a bird. But when he flew, he found out fast that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence. I'm not staying here when the ship goes south, and the shit seems to be already here. I've a backpack with all my needs. Trouble is, when I dream, all I find is that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence. I'm sure my grandfather left freedom here, unless my eyes were open when I was born. But this world has left me blind. Is that right, Mother? Am I blind? I'm sure I smelled freedom once in the backwood forests of your eyes. Hide, you said, hide with me, or how else will we ever live free? There's an exodus heading out of town. Their faces are up, but their eyes are down. There's a sun that seems to be shining upside down, and around and around, upside down, and around and around, upside down, and around and around, until we reach the outskirts of town, where we find time and time again that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence.
Are you saying that you went around Australia on a motorbike?
That's what I'm saying.
Can we see you on the motorbike? You went around Australia.
But,
Right?
if we had, well, we'd get a bit of juice, we'd get her going, because she still goes.
Okay, I'm going to walk up. So it's a postie bike. You went around Australia in 4 months on a postie bike. I guess there's nothing else to say.
Get off and run.
Okay, will it go? So in 2005, this went around the Australia in 4 months. Will it still go?
Oh, well, turn her on. Oh, no, she's on.
Wow! American, a part of you does not have to give a shit what other people think of you, and that's the prison a lot of people are living in. They're terrified of what someone will think of them, and so they modify their behaviour to sort of try appease people who are probably not thinking of them at all.
No, that's right. So, and of course we've lost that thick skin.
Yeah.
You know, that bit of, if you get into just a conversation, turns into an argument, you know, you're just pointing your opinion on someone, and whether it's right or not, but you can work it out and go along with, you know, what we're hearing at the moment.
Okay, let's get going. There's so here we are in Grawin,
Mate.
and we're in a castle. Tell us the history of this castle.
We're at the Grawin Castle at Grawin. That's the name I called it because it was the stone house, and it was built by a bloke called Alexander in 1966. And the initial story goes when he came out here and started opal mining and got a mine and a claim and started digging, he rang his wife and said, I've got a claim and I'm opal mining out here. And she said, well, I'm not coming out there until I got somewhere to live. So from 1966, he started building this, and 25 years later, this is what we've got, the Grawin Castle. And even more so, such a pleasure today to have Michael and Kelly here, and our favourite camel toe that's travelled Australia with the camels. And we've just gone and done the postie bike bit that I rode around Australia with that. And, you know, she's a pearler in her own right and a legend. And to be able to do something...
Yeah, I do.
Because even back then, just on the bike, they say, oh, how can you do that? Or what's all right for you? But that postie motorbike, and of course, I've got two larrikin sons.
He does.
Mark and Shane, that I initially was going to go for a trip around on just a van. And I said, pigs arse, yeah. I went down to the auction and brought that postie motorbike, and they said, you get on that and get going. Anyway, Mark and I rebuilt it, got it going, practiced on another old postie.
Did you put a bigger tank on it?
Put another tank on it, two extra tanks, put a cam in it, so she's got a lumpy cam in it, so it'd handle all the weight. I did overstack it with the swag tent.
You had a swag on that thing.
And a tent and everything else. And initially, I had a suitcase. So anyway, Mark hurled me out the front gate, and I was lucky to make it over the other side of the road. Anyway, I made it over the Brugger Bridge and headed, I was on the road, and I actually had a bloke come and he rode shotgun for me till we got to Wagga, Welshie, bloke from Shepparton. And
what a pillion.
No, he was on his bike. He was on his bike.
One of the 12 dwarfs.
So he was riding, and he rode shotgun to make sure I got it to Wagga. Once I got to Wagga, he said, well, righto, you're at the crossroads, you get going. So I came to Lightning Ridge because initially when Mark hurled me out the gate, Shane said, well, I'll head north and run him off at the pass. So I'll meet him at Lightning Ridge and see how he's still going. I said, well, if I make it to Lightning Ridge, I'll keep going. So I met Shane and Sammy here, and he said, geez, you got to bloody change all that shit you've got on there, hurl that suitcase off, get rid of all those clothes. And so we reorganised the whole show, and he pushed me off out the track, and I headed north.
So you went up to Darwin?
Yeah.
Can I ask, because I rode across from Perth to Melbourne on a 250.
Yeah.
But that's a 125, right?
That's a 110.
Oh.
That's the old 110. That's the best built motorbike Australia or Honda has ever built. Got the biggest crankshaft in it, and the most reliable, as we know.
Yeah, I used to be a postie for a while.
Yeah, Pearl.
Can I ask, what are some of the things you saw out there? Because it's a small bike. What you're sitting on, about 60, 70?
73. Top speed of 82 and going down a big hill, 91. And hanging on for grim death. And she had the rattles up.
How'd you get up the hills though?
Very slow. But
and there's no clutches there. It's full
no,
clutch.
she's all
It's all rev and clutch.
Yeah. But anyway, she did it and made it and got out on those.
You must have seen something, though, did you?
I've seen everything.
Yeah, that's right.
And
how about insects hitting you? Did you have an open face mask?
Yeah. No, I had a full face in case I fell off. But
did you fall off?
Well, I'm going to get to that first story, and there's in 4 months you can imagine there's a few. So when you get out past Winton, way out in the flat country, and I see this friggin' road train coming, and I thought, whoa. So he had the death rattles up. He was all over the road. So when I bailed and went off the side of the road, and I stopped and went to put my foot down, got my pants caught on the kickstart, and arse over it I went. Well, that truckie bipped the horn for about 10 minutes and, nearly went off the road laughing, and I'm laying flat on my back on the side of the road. And, of course, it's very hard to pick up when you had the swag and tent and all the shit on there and the kitchen and the water. So I was off and running again, but
G'day, David.
It was a trip of a lifetime, and of course I slept in a and that was the thing, when you retire, what are you going to do? Climb Mount Everest.
So how old were you when you did this?
So I'm 70, and what did I say, 2005? So
minus 20.
So you're in your 50s.
50.
Yeah, 50. So, actually, you're right. Because I actually retired when I was 50. Yeah, it was
And you're a baker, right?
Old dough puncher from way back. Yeah.
Did you have a master's in it? Were you a master baker?
Yeah. I was. I was the best dough puncher this side of Willamacanka.
The party's gone south.
So... But anyway, once I got on the road and I had my 2-minute noodles and my cuppa, my little billy and my little boiler, there I was, out in the middle of nowhere. But people say, how can you do that, like you were saying before?
Oh, yeah, I did it on 250. Everyone's stopping thinking, you're mad? You okay?
Yeah. So how do you do that? And,
slowly.
That's right.
Yeah.
But when it's time to go and do something, like I'd just done 40 years, raised the boys and my daughter, Rachel, Shane and Mark, and done the family thing, which I love to pieces. Work 7.
Well, the boys adore you. The boy, I met the sons a few times. The boys adore him.
Well, we're a very close-knit show, shindig.
They're all crazy, but they adore him.
Well, if there's something to be had or a shindig to be had in which we like music, we'll give you a little bit of a dose of the JBL.
Well, they flew you down to see Oliver Anthony.
They did. Now, how good's that? So I'm up there sweating me gangoolies off in the middle of bloody Dundee, and it was hot. And I'm waiting for this wet season to come, and that never comes. So anyway, luckily they rang me and said, "Hey, we're sending you an airplane ticket. Get on it." So I went home, and there. I didn't know at the time. I said to, I don't know who I said. I might have said to Sammy, I hope this bloody worth flying home for. Anyway, they took me to Bendigo to Oliver Anthony meat stock concert in Bendigo, and the next night we went to Melbourne to the concert in Melbourne.
So you saw it twice?
Yeah.
Wow.
2 days in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he was good?
He was fantastic, and he still is. And he's, as we know, he sings about all the things that we're talking about, and singing songs about the corruption and the lies and everything that's going on with the families. And so he's well renowned for Richmond, north of Richmond, which I've done a few songs and sang a few songs. But yeah, so anyway, after that and getting up there, but people say, how can you go and do that? How can you do it? I can't afford it. Or it cost me $600 in fuel to go around there at that stage.
$600 in fuel on the postie bike.
Yeah. So, you know, you don't have to go in a brand new Land Cruiser and a brand new caravan, which the road's full of them.
Well, the interesting thing is, because I've done on the motorbike as well, and even a small one, you go slow, but you feel the land because you're a part of it. You can't hide from it. So it's hot, you're hot. Insects, you get them hitting your face. But,
but you
also feel the curvature of the land and stuff. It's cool.
That's the beauty of it. And once you get out there, you a couple of days to get settled into it and then, you know, get the relief.
Plus, you have to be focused because you're on a bike. If you fall off, you're going to hurt. So you've got to stay.
Well, I remember I was this side of Mount Isa.
And then you can do the comments from
and so this side of Mount Isa, and I pulled into a roadside stop for the night. And you wouldn't believe it, but the weights and measures pulled up. And I think, you got to be kidding, don't you?
Are you kidding?
So these two official traffic weight blokes walked over, and I thought, they're going to have a crack at me about all this weight on this frigging bike. But anyway, they loved it, and you know, couldn't get over it and couldn't believe what I was doing. So they were actually good blokes, you know. And as we know, there's some people out there that stick to the, you know, for the rules, and you know, they break people's heart because they're doing the right thing, and then they finish up with a fine that's just unnecessary. So talk about, you know, the blind eye. You'll be right, mate. Off you go. You know, second chance, which it was in the day, as we said yesterday, when I grew up.
Yeah.
You know, the copper might hurl you out the road and say, piss off.
Yeah.
You know, and that happened.
I think they had the discretion to actually decide for themselves, but now they just book
No, because whether or not, but anyway, I kept going, and of course got the camel wheel.
I'm glad you said wheel.
So I stayed at the park there for a while, and done a few tours from there. Went out to the blowholes and went to the Georgina over the bridge, the Georgina Park. So that was really good. But going across the Barclay, and I've heard of, you know, Harleys and that, they'll run out of fuel because if you've got a headwind and it is really mad across there. And I heard the story about the 6 caravans got blown off the road on the side. So you can get very strong winds. But so anyway, off I went. And anyway, I got across there and got through and finished up in Darwin, you know, going all through those roadside stops. But there's another good part of that story that on the way back down, after going, I rode out to Alice, and I rode out to Ayers Rock.
You did?
Yeah. That was a journey itself. I didn't realise it was that far.
Yeah, it's
Kings
really
Canyon,
far. It's not close.
And done all that. But I got out past Marla, the Marla Bore, out past Minderby, the other opal mine up there.
Yeah.
And I pulled into a roadside stop for a piss. And I pulled up, and I look around, and here's these 2 dogs running for me. I thought, oh, they're going to have a bite of me. But anyway, one was wobbly off its feet, and I thought, oh, there's something wrong with them. So I got off the bike, and they were that dehydrated. And so I gave them water, and then I walked over to the shelter with the table and chairs and that, and I looked on the wall, and it said, lost 2 dogs. So they'd been there for a week or more.
Wow.
So I finished up staying there for 2 days with these dogs. And, of course, I got no phone signal, got no nothing. So I used to get out in the middle of the road with me walkie-talkie and try and pull trucks up or cars, and they just thought I was a peanut on the middle of the road, you know, virtually trying to run me over.
Wolf Creek.
Yeah,
Wolf Creek.
But anyway, I had a few pulled in that were pulling into the roadside stop too, and they'd give me, you know, drink, a couple of sausages, a chop, and, you know, a few bits and pieces for the dogs. And so that happened through the day. And at night, There was a pearl or two. It was like one of those mad things you see or you don't see. But anyway, I was out there and I'd have this big fire going with the salt bush. And if I seen a truck or car come, I'd hurl it on the fire and you'd have this massive flame and I'd stand behind it with my didgeridoo and, they'd think, oh, look. And I don't know what it ever looked like, but, I put a bit of a show on every time someone went past. So, again, I don't mind entertaining myself.
And did the dogs only turn up?
No, the coppers did.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'd sent a message down to Marla that I had these two dogs with someone that had pulled in for a pet.
Yeah.
And I said, there's a bloke in a bus down there waiting for me that I'd met at Ayers Rock. And so he went to the cops and said, oh, my mate's out there and he's got these two dogs and he's looking after them. And the coppers said to him, tell him to leave the dogs there and just get going. And this bloke said, he's not that sort of bloke. He's not going to do that. So the third day, a copper turned up with a bottle of water and a sandwich. And, to relieve me from the dogs. And he'd found the owner by then. So the owner turned up. Oh, no, someone that was going through to Alice Springs and to take the dogs back. But, I always wanted to find out who was the owner of those dogs, just, because I looked after them.
Yeah. Well, if anyone knows that story, get in touch. I mean, that's an amazing story.
Yeah. So, a journey like that, what do you do? But, and of course, people say, oh, you can find yourself or, you're lost or, it's not about that either. It's the solitude of doing what you're doing, actually. Getting out there, having a crack, like Cal, doing things beyond your wildest dreams and imaginations that you're never going to do. But all you got to do is do it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, And I know a lot of people that you can't do that. You can. And you don't need a lot of money to do it and say, oh, it's all right for you. It's not all right for me at all. I'm just someone that actually decided to do it. And I had the backing from me two boys and everyone else. The daughter gave me a Mr. Bean doll and a teddy bear. And, that was her.
Wouldn't that have put the bike overweight?
Well, she loves going to the shower somewhere with me because, I can carry on a little bit, especially if I take her to the shower or that, I'll finish up with a puppet. But, just do it. Just go out and do things. And that's the thing now, because we've lost the ability to go and do it because the pay, the wages, the mortgage.
Our souls are trapped.
Yeah, as we know.
And this country, I say this country is built for people who want to fly. It's huge. If you want to live, this country is there for you.
And that's the beauty of being out here. So,
well, that's a great. I don't even want to tell that story. You came here, and you found something which puts you on your feet. Here. Do you want to tell that story?
Because we're not always cashed up, or we're not always running on prime. But anyway, I turned up out here for the weekend and stayed for the weekend. And I've met a couple of blokes out here. One of them was Shearer Jack from Wyong and another bloke called Neil from Cooranbong. And we finish up staying and going noodling. And
okay, quick quiz. What's noodling? Don't tell them.
Right.
Just see if anyone can guess what noodling is.
So anyway, it was going all right. We're wandering around like blue-ass flies, and we've just done the cook's tour with Michael and Cal.
They did, at a frantic pace.
And so anyway, I finished up at the back of the club camping in my troopy, and it was that we built a little shower and shit, but as it went on, like I'm camped at the back of the club under a sheet of iron and go up on the dump and found this opal.
So the opal was in a rock, you said?
Yeah, I hit it on the head with a shovel and it opened up and there's a big opal in there.
Wow.
So that put me on my feet, and here we are today sitting in the castle, the Grawin Castle. And it was never going to happen because I'd never wanted to go mining. I wasn't buying a camp. and that's what things happen. So you can get things do happen to you. And
But you stopped after 3 years mining, though.
because once you're out here, there's a time limit to waste time and effort. So I call about 3 years. If I haven't found open in 3 years, I'm pulling the pin and sacking myself and go somewhere else.
Talk the story about the guy with the bucket. Is it $1 billion?
Yeah,
What's that
no, well,
one?
there's a lot of people out here that, as we know, have been out here for 10 or 15 years and still got the arse out of their pants. But then there's other stories like one that up on his first bucket, pulled $1 million. So there's a variety of luck. Is it luck or hard work or good, whatever it is? But there's plenty of stories out here which you need a fair way.
You're right, Jane. Jane Mock, fosking for gold or opals, noodling. Why would they call it noodling? I don't understand where that word comes from.
Because the noodler noodles. A fossicker.
That doesn't help.
No, that probably doesn't say a lot, but anyway, that's what we're going with. So noodle. I won't abbreviate too much on that. Is this an R-rated show?
Yeah.
But noodle and fossicking, and I'm actually done a fair bit of prospecting on the gold. So the fossicking.
Did you have more luck with the gold than the opal?
No, well, as I said, I came here for the weekend and I was going to the Cape on the gold, and I come here for the weekend and I'm still here 8 years later. But I've just done my stint on the opal and only found that big one that set me up here. And I've just done a bit of a stint up north and got a bit of shiny stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we'll do a video tomorrow. We've got a video of the place. But you can be an Airbnb, not an Airbnb, like a bed and breakfast. You've actually got several rooms.
Well,
here.
as anyone that knows me or Don't Vote Major, there's obviously a few people out there that know us and know what I do. And I've been out here a while, and I did open it up. I do tours out here through the winter, and I opened it up as a B&B. And I have a very big announcement to make, and I may as well do it here live on this show in front of Michael and Cal and Camel, that next year we will have Devonshire tea and a tour and some cakes and a few other things, being an old dough puncher and I know how to make a few dances.
Oh, yeah, you'd probably make
few
great
cakes.
scones.
Oh, bloody oath. So next year, don't forget to come out here and say, how you going? And come for the tour, the cook's tour, and enjoy the Grawin hospitality. And there's plenty of it.
You said, like, now it's very quiet here, but in the wintertime, it's jam-packed with tourists.
I look out that front window and they're lined up, jammed up, and hello, I hear them yelling at the door, come in, come and do the tour, come and do the castle tour. But they don't know they're going to get hit for a $5 on the way out. But that's all good. They love it. Actually, they usually hurl a lot more in than that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Because they can't believe the story. Like, you've just had a look around.
Yeah.
The work, 25 years it took to build this place, and the work.
And the guy also was working and mining and had other things.
Yeah.
So he built it around that. But some of these stones that he would have lifted here are huge.
Very heavy. So it is, I still wander around in amazement of the work.
Yeah.
You know, I've done a bit of work in my time, but...
And no permits, no council approval. He just built it.
They're a bit shy out here for some reason, because this is actually a mining camp. So what happened... But people are going to build them to last. So this is a
Well, that's
perfect
right. It hasn't
example.
fallen on your head. So he built it not to actually fall on his head.
And the first camp that's out here, up the road, Kel, what's his name? Is still, Harry Stack. And it's still standing.
Wow.
I'll have a look at that in the morning.
Yeah. Now, the other thing, too, there's some of the stories here. I know we can't tell that story you told.
No, it's not.
That story. So there's maybe...
Is that about the bad shooter?
Don't say anything, please.
That's right. There is a lot of characters and
Yeah, we've met some
out
today.
here, you know, and that's right. We've done a quick lap of the club and everything else. So, but you have to come out and have a look for yourself. There's
The interesting thing is, though, sorry to interrupt. The interesting thing is, though, that there's still you pick it up here that you're allowed to be yourself here. You're allowed to be a character. People aren't scared of offending people, and but people seem thick-skinned. They're not getting offended. They just laugh it off. And but now you've got more regulation coming out here, which we'll talk to Kelly about.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening now. So you've had hardly any, and all you guys are just
That's
living.
right. Yeah.
And now it's coming.
Yeah, but I think there'll be a backlash, and we hopefully will stand together. And as you showed the Eureka Stock flag out the front, which we fought for, was the Eureka Stockade in 1854, and that's showed the people that will stand up and do something, about their livelihood and their little dunghill. They stood on that hill, out of Ballarat there, and achieved it. They actually achieved it, which is remarkable as well.
Yeah, because I think even though they got shot or their things changed after.
Yeah, that's right. So, but what they're trying to do here is these are people's livelihoods. There's a lot more people out here and been here a lot longer than me. Some of them were there tonight. Some of them were up the road.
The other interesting thing, though, is there's 3 pubs here.
Yeah.
Which now, and they're crazy pubs. These are just like incredible pubs. And there's just humour everywhere, like the Rock, the Weather Rock.
Yeah.
If it's dry, it's fine.
Yeah.
If it's wet, it's raining. If it's blowing around, it's windy. I mean, there's humour everywhere.
Yeah.
And you guys seem to be looking after yourself in a way that you just look at, if anyone comes in and
well, that's right. And
find
it places itself, the community,
That's
like
what I mean.
Radders, and you don't knock anything off out here, otherwise you will you could get the brunt of people that stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
And police, you don't come out here knocking stuff off, and
so you
it's
really
an open society.
Yeah, you're right. You're and all of you off grid.
Like tonight when you tried to get in that back door.
That's right.
That's the locking system. That's the security alarm.
But you had this. Oh my God! There's been a mass shooting at Bondi Beach. I don't know anything more about it. Someone's just said, "Oh, that's horrendous." But the other thing too is, so you're all looking after each other. You're all off grid. So this is what everyone talks about: living off grid,
that's right.
in a community. You're not living in each other's pockets, but you've got each other's back.
Where's one of those cucumbers?
But in the COVID years, you had the cops racing in here from Walgett.
Well, that's right.
Fining you all for not wearing a mask out here in the summer.
Yeah, which was absolutely, we know, but you can't fathom it.
Yeah.
So,
but you used to walk around, because some other guy said you'd walk around with your little trolley.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What you did in that era to sort of show that maybe.
Again, the boys had gone to a protest in Melbourne or somewhere, and after we'd been to, the Canberra with the library, we were there the first day and went to Epic, and the boys had gone to Melbourne to one of the rallies and protests, and so I felt a little bit out. So I got me billy cart, me JBL, and me Aussie flag, and me flags, and off I walked these roads, these opal mining roads, and walked down the club and walked along. But I'm happy to.
What was the reaction to that?
Well, I'm happy to be known as the peanut, the unvaccinated. He won't wear a mask, bar him, won't let him in and dob him in. I'll cop it up. I am thick-skinned, unless it really goes haywire. But I know.
Did you have anyone backing you up here when you were doing it?
Well, there wasn't many at the time that had come out.
Mm.
So, of course, there has to be a forefront and a forerunner.
Yeah, that was you.
Yeah. As Steve said over the road, he heard what I was doing, and so I knew I did it. But once I knew the boys had gone to a protest, I said, I'm not getting out of this. I'm getting in it. So, but it showed the people that did conform that you can go and not conform. because I'm the peanut that didn't conform, and now I'm still a little bit dicky, or they think I am, but I've gained respect.
No, the other thing is you yourself, and this is the freedom that the country should have, is that everyone should have the freedom to be themselves. So if they want to be a compliant mouse and just hide in the herd, feel free to do it. But if you want to be yourself, and we've got another character coming in after this, if you want to be yourself, then here you are. And we should allow you to be that. But it seems to be that's not the way. They'd say if you say something, you're racist or a misogynist or sexist,
So,
or all these things to try and make you silent.
So over the period of time of like the last 12 months going to Dundee and coming back out here and doing other things and standing in your own dignity, standing in your own, just standing
In your own truth.
Yeah,
in your own
that's
authenticity.
right.
Because it's not an untruth. I mean, there's only one truth.
That's right. That's why
Truth isn't as Charlie Kirk used to say that. Truth isn't something, I'll have a bit of that, a bit of that. No, there's one truth.
No, and that's why the 832, that tell the truth and the truth will set you free. But again, it is a core group. Like I've been around a fair bit now, and I go to all the stand in the parks and everything else, and it's the same ones.
Yeah.
I do a bit here, but there's no good doing it when other people have done it, and you're not getting anyone else come.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is, remarkable in the point and stage where you're still doing it. So you're a good example, and people need examples. Whether the characters or what they're doing, or they drive around in a bus, just shows the living and the life. So, everyone, comments on you and says Michael's still out there with Cal, and, we see it come up all the time. Mate, that's guts.
I don't know about that.
No,
Crazy.
I don't give a fuck what it is, because when it comes to the raw blood, when it comes out, someone's got to say something and someone's got to do something, and you're the example.
Well, the interesting thing now, and thanks for that, the interesting thing now is we had a group here before. I don't know if they'll come back. So the call is out to anyone. We're going live now from Grawin, and we're at the castle. So if you want to come and have your say, if you're in the town and you feel like you're brave enough, come and have your say. You don't have to be, you can be vaccinated, unvaccinated. It's just because what we're talking about now is the future of our country. Digital ID, everything. They want more and more control. And they want control of this place, which is full of scrub balls, human scrub balls that they want gone. Because you guys offer hope to the rest of the community. I mean, you're 70, so there might be other 70s out there just sitting at home waiting to go to the nursing home or euthanasia clinic, or instead you get on a boasty bike, you ride to Darwin. And we've got another woman in Tenterfield.
That's right.
Yeah, why
there is
living?
Still living as, I don't know whoever said it, but it's a well-known, get living or get dying.
Yeah, get busy living or get busy dying. But the thing is, though, when you're out on the road doing adventures, you come to life because you've got to use all your senses and everything to...
People get stalemated.
Yeah.
Like, I'm probably more fitter now. I'm at a point
You're
now.
super fit, man.
That go out in the bush, go prospect and camp in the bush, do what I do, change my diet, do a few things that I've learned, through all the podcasts and learning, Cal and all different people that are eating differently and living differently.
Yeah.
And get out there and keep exercising, and that changes your mindset.
Yeah.
If you're fitter, you will do more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your mind is capable and your body will allow it.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
oh, bloody oath.
Yeah. And you love the country? So
always been a country boy. Novelty for me to go to the city or the ocean. So I like going there.
Can I ask, how much schooling did you do?
Not much. Fuck all. And that was another thing where I'm peering out the window. I'm not educated.
Oh, you're not educated in the system,
no.
But you're well educated in life.
Yeah, well, so once you get something in your head, you do. That's why when the boys and when the daughter was born, I was a smoker and a drinker. My daughter was born, haven't had a fucking smoke or drink since.
Wow. Because you realise you have to be
39
healthy for
years
it.
ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what my kids and family, mean to me.
Yeah.
I'll change or go there like I'll go to Darwin tomorrow if I have to.
Yeah. So your sons have a property in Darwin that's like also Airbnb or,
Yeah.
or B&B.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
And a function centre and stuff.
base
What's
camp.
it called?
The base camp, or it's called the Getaway at Dundee.
Yeah.
And the daughter's got a little park there as well. So yeah, she's all happening up there. They left me in charge last year, and I done my bit and enjoyed it. And,
You didn't get eaten by a crocodile or anything?
well, no, but there was a few there.
Yeah.
So
I
it
know.
can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, again, living and doing something different. Get out of your own skin. Go and try something that people are stuck. As you say, people are stuck. But all they have to do is open the door and have a crack at doing something for a day, a weekend, a week, and learn how to do something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
This is what we're saying now. I mean, it's probably our mob watching, is that to protest now, instead of trying to offer fear to the other side, because they're already getting fear from the government, why don't we give them the fact that we're living, we're alive, we found each other. I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for COVID.
Yeah,
And we've had a great time together.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when we were at the library and you walked past and said, the coppers are coming, we've got to get out. I said, do you want a cup of tea or coffee? And you said, you're not going. I said, I'll hang around for a while. And that was it, hang around till you really get hunted. And we finished up going to Epic, which was good anyway.
Yeah, well, it was an interesting time, wasn't it? They were coming in, they were confiscating cars.
Yeah,
and
that was mad.
And my thing, because I was thinking, well, I didn't come here to fight for this library ground. I came here for the big march.
Yeah,
when the people are coming.
Yeah, that's what.
And so we left with a group behind us. It was a big group. But we didn't know where to go. And then until someone from the Victorian group called us and said, come to Epic.
Yeah.
And then that became magic.
But it was that first stand at the library that kept the others coming.
Yeah.
So luckily they never.
So you were there when the
broke us.
cops came in?
Yeah,
because they came in like, they
Yeah.
were like 5 deep. They were like an army of Roman
Like
soldiers.
Adam Tirana and a few that got flogged by the coppers. And, a few that started a bit of a heckle and all the coppers hiding in the bushes. And
remember the Aborigines, the Aboriginal leaders that got there. I remember some women came in. They said they talked to the leaders.
that's right.
And the Aboriginal leaders said it's their property. The police can't come
Cindy,
in. And then the next day in they came.
That's right.
So they didn't bother with that
I
at all.
actually know her. So she was telling the truth at the time and believed what she thought she was doing.
Yeah.
But they just whitewashed her.
Yeah.
And that's when they came in, and she was adamant, and she was too, because she was actually from Shepparton.
So what do you see now as the country going forward? Because there's something you said just before. I said, you've got a spark. I mean, so many people say, where's the spark gun in the country? You're full of spark. But you were saying the other ones are all walking around with dead batteries.
And to get charged up again when you've got full of debt, full of maybe hate, full of anger, full of the wrong things, and as well yourself, you can turn that around and put a bit of love back in there and a bit of respect. And you don't have to get that deep in other people's crap.
Yeah.
Try and float along the surface. And then when your turn comes, do something that'll benefit you and your living, what you can go and do. Whether you just go camping or you hear that something's happening out the road or a little market or something, start off there.
So participate. Basically.
Yeah. And try not in the real crap. Get out and participate in, like in Lightning Ridge, there's a community market. There's quite a few people in town that actually, unfortunately, have left, so we didn't get to meet them all or bring them all into, which, over the elections and that I've been in here, and I know quite a few in there, but, this will spark them on. Everyone in the Ridge, we're cracking on, and everyone in there knows me and knows what I do, and but we're still here and we're still doing it. And I know all the people in town are, because I know them. And good to hear that lady the other day.
Yeah.
So no, it's unfortunately you can get bogged down in it.
Mm.
Because that's why I went to Darwin the first time, because I left Epic and I was knackered. I was done, even though I'd been ratted and I was burnt and blistered, and Mark had been, pepper sprayed and dragged around, and like Adam Tirana.
Was he the one that was pepper sprayed in the library that got him down on the ground? That was him. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mark and I
I remember now. I remember him being taken away.
And the other bloke got flogged near the water.
Yeah.
So there was a little breakout, but the coppers were doing it.
Oh, yeah. No, the police were the violent ones.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got all the video evidence of that.
Because, well, that's right. We were right in amongst it. We were camping and hadn't seen it all happen. And then when they came in, but yeah, poor old Adam, we had to get milk in his eyes, and it blinded him for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So he was really struggling. But again, a bloke that was, well, we all stood up. He did. And the other bloke that got flogged, he was just saying something, and they tackled him to the ground.
Yeah.
And, of course, they're all there. That's when that wank, clashed.
They did, yeah. So what they did, we got video of this.
Yeah.
After they pepper sprayed some of us and arrested others,
they cheered.
2 of them cheered by clinking their pepper sprays together. So they actually had no consideration for the Australians that had come from all around Australia, just because they didn't want to be forced to take something that they didn't want to take. And that's how they were treated by the police in the ACT. So there's something, it's hard to fathom how they can live with themselves for doing it, because we were there, but there was no aggression, there was no violence. We weren't burning cars, we weren't looting stores. We were just being there basically to say, enough's enough.
No, it went on, and of course it went too far, and it still is.
So when you got injured, because I've interviewed loads of people who was injured, I was injured, burnt too, or my lips went black. But how long did it stay with you? Because some people were sick for ages.
Well, I came back out here because I said, we've got to get out of here because we've done enough in there.
Yeah.
And Mark went home, and I came out here, and I wasn't here long. And I was down. The spirit had been nearly broken, but I was weak, and I was lethargic and a bit shit. Yeah. And I thought, no, I'm going to go for a drive to Darwin, because I'm happier up there with the boys, and get looked after and do a bit of stuff there. So, I've been up there and I rebuilt. I recharged myself. Still today, I get a recharge and think, right, what's on the cards now? So the cards are next year, Devonshire tea at the castle.
Now, what we're going to do now, I'm going to show you. I spelt the name of the town wrong in the first title, but it comes better. But this is the motorbike that Gary, with 2 R's, took up to Darwin. You're saying that you went around Australia on a motorbike?
That's what I'm saying.
Can we see you on the motorbike? You went around Australia?
Well, yes. If we'll get a bit of juice, we get her going, because she still goes.
Okay, I'm going to walk up. So it's a postie bike. You went around Australia in 4 months on a postie bike. I guess there's nothing else to say.
Get off and run.
Okay, will it go? So in 2005, this went around Australia in 4 months. Will it still go?
Oh, well, turn her on. Oh, no, she's on.
Wow! Now watch this. Remember, he's 7 years old.
Still going.
Cheers, man. I'm going to bring Kelly on to hear her story. Thanks.
Fucking love it.
Great to meet you.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah,
Thank you. Hopefully, Australia, anyone 65 and up, use this as motivation. Just start living, because living now is a way of protesting. They're trying to make us feel worthless. They're trying to make us feel like we're useless eaters. They're trying to control us with cameras everywhere, destroy our spirits. Well, the way to fight back is to live and enjoy. And we've got someone else who is an expert at that. And I'm not going to call you the name that he calls you. But let's bring it on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little break. We're going to play. This is this lady. We started with this one. I'm going to play the game. Just going to have a quick break. And this is Exodus. And this is Kelly really likes this. This is the other Kelly, 2 Kellys. I'm going to be bookended by Kelly. So back in a sec.
Chang bought a van and decked it out, showed us all, had all he needed. Could park it anywhere, free as a bird. But when he flew, he found out fast that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence. I'm not staying here when the shit goes south, and the shit seems to be already here. I've a backpack with all my needs. Trouble is, when I dream, all I find is that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence. I'm sure my grandfather left freedom here, unless my eyes were open when I was born. But this world has left me blind. Is that right? Mother, am I blind? I'm sure I smelled freedom once in the backwood forests of your eyes. How you said, hide with me, or how else will we ever live free? There's an exodus heading out of town. Their faces are up, but their eyes are down. There's a sun that seems to be shining upside down, and around and around, upside down, and around and around, upside down, and around and around, until we reach the outskirts of town, where we find time and time again that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence.
Okay, let's get going again. Oops, sorry. Butcher. Now, I'm bookended by Kelly's. This is Kelly S. And this is Kelly, what's your second name?
Cole.
This is Kelly C.
Yeah.
Also known by another name, but we're not going to use that
No,
tonight.
we're right. We've already heard that one tonight, thanks.
Now, we're going to tell, we came out here going to Burke. It was our first long trip together.
Mm.
And we were going through town after town and no one would talk to us. We're almost shunned. And we were getting really thinking, what's the point of being out here? When someone came driving towards us in a ute, the lights flashing and this. And this is how we met. We did the interview on the side of the road.
Yeah, we did. And I took you both down to the river, remember?
Yeah.
Is that
But you're
okay?
the reason we're here. We came looking, we
okay.
knew you were around
Yeah.
here. And then Gary's son said, yeah, we know her. She's there. So, and we tried to get in touch with numbers. We just couldn't, it just wouldn't work. So then we thought, screw it. Let's go to Lightning Ridge. And here you are.
And we appeared again, yeah, just out of the bush. We came out of the scrub like Mickey Balls.
Now, the reason for it is, for those who haven't seen the first interview, one of the most amazing things you've done, without any movie or book written about you, is that you took camel trains by yourself across this country.
Yeah, a camel string, a camel train, whatever you like to say, and travelled from the most westerly point, which was Steep Point, across to the most easterly point, which was Byron Bay or Tallows Beach. I didn't actually bother going up to the lighthouse because that's so symbolic that I thought, no, I'd rather go to Tallows Beach, which is on the beach. And yeah, it was a pretty monumental trip.
Why were you doing it though? What was the drive? You just wanted to do it? What was the drive?
It just basically happened. I mean, ending up with camels was just, it just happened. I didn't plan it. It just happened.
It just happened. You just
The
happened.
same
And can anyone put their hand up to how it just happened that they ended up with a load of camels? I think
I fell in love with them. That was it. And the same as
all of them, or just the pretty ones?
Well, I fell in love with one camel at the camel. I think it was the show in Alice Springs when I was living over there, and there was a gentleman there he was from the Camel Society, and he had a few camels there talking about them. It's an industry,
Okay.
So I went, oh, that's really interesting because I'd never been even close to a camel before. So I went up and I started talking to him and asking questions, and then there was this one camel, this female camel that came over, and she was a little bit interested in me as well. And I looked at her. She was talking to me, and I thought, oh, this is really good.
She was talking to
She was talking to me, and
spiritually, or just
she
making
was
strange sounds?
telling me stories. She was telling me about deserts and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is my story anyway.
Yeah.
So if you look in a horse's eye, it looks like a mountain range. But if you look in a camel's eye, the iris looks like rippling sand, like a ribbon of sand or a ribbon. And I could see the desert in the camel's eye.
So you could see it in her eyes. Wow,
Yeah.
I get it.
And then she was telling me about it. So I thought, I became obsessed, didn't I? This is all happening in my mind, of course, and in reality for me. So I couldn't stop thinking.
Well, how do you know? We don't know these things.
No.
And we've been taught by society, there's no ghosts, there's no this. So we're sort of disconnected from the spiritual world in a way. Go to church and just tell God how great he is and hope he doesn't hurt you. But we're not actually spiritually connected with the land even. And here it sounds like some spiritual connection.
This was a little bit of a spirit animal thing happening, I guess. And so I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I thought more and more about it, became really obsessed about it. And then I spoke to a gentleman down south who had some camels, and I said, I'd just like to come out to the camel farm and have a look around. He said, do you want to buy a camel? And I went, no way in the world do I want to get camels.
Do you want to buy a camel? How often do you get asked that question in Australia?
It's like a used car salesman, he's a used camel salesman. I went, no way, no, I'm just interested, just curious. And of course he must have seen me coming. And I went down, and that was it. That was the end of it for me. And of course I ended up getting camels, didn't I?
So
and I wouldn't have believed
did you buy one or? Initially
I did buy one, and then it turned into more.
Can we just stop there? I just want to say, first off, this is Kelly's first time on the show. She's doing the comments because the other computer's not working. Kelly, 2 questions. 1, has anyone ever asked you if you want to buy a camel?
No.
Okay. Now, 2, what are your thoughts on the camel talking to it? Do you think that sounds nonsense, or do you get it?
I think that's legit. I think that's fair dinkum. I totally believe whatever Kel says. I know how intuitive she is.
No, but a spiritual
Seriously,
connection with an
absolutely.
animal. Have you heard? Because people do. I meet people who say the spirit from one dog goes to the next dog. Have you ever heard anything like that?
Yeah, I have, and I totally believe what Kel's saying. I think it's a beautiful story.
Oh, thanks, girl.
But what I want to get, you go there just to look.
Yeah.
Did you have a house then? Were you living in a house or rental?
No, I was renting. I was working over in Alice Springs.
So you're in Alice Springs and you're renting.
Yeah.
And you buy a camel.
Well,
now, you can't just put the camel in the backyard or tie him to the clothes hoist.
No,
So what do you do with the camel you just bought?
I started making some plans. So, of course, I was paying off the camel because it was a very expensive camel, really.
So you got the camel on one load.
On lay-by. I bought the camel on lay-by. And then I realised that one camel wouldn't be enough for what I wanted to do. Long story short, I ended up with a string of camels. And
Wow.
And then one thing led to another, and through people that I met and knew, and other other things that happened in my life, I ended up in Western Australia and started a trip from Broome, which was going to go to every state in Australia, and that was with a Canadian film crew who ended up, I wanted a contract to do that because it involved money, and there was another person involved, and I was basically a tag along. But my camels, my health, my safety, everything like that, I wanted a contract. And eventually we did manage to dig a contract out of them, and then they breached it left, right and centre. So that ended up being a bit of a debacle. And myself and this other fellow were chased by, we were travelling at 5 kilometres an hour along the Tenemai track. And we have some miners, because there's lots of gold mines out there. So some miners that used to see us all the time on the road every day, they said, the police are looking for you. And we went, yeah, so like we're travelling at 5 kilometres an hour, we're not hard to find. And they said no, like it ended up being the Northern Territory Police, the Western Australia Police and the Commonwealth Police were looking for us, because we ended up with, by accident, we ended up with this Canadian fella's passport in our goods, because he was travelling with us and he breached the contract. Sorry, they breached the contract, and we said, okay, end of story. You know, we're not doing this. So we left with the camels, but he had some of his gear that he left with us, being he was totally disorganised, and the passport ended up with us. So we are accused of stealing this guy's passport. So we have to go back to one of the communities, to the Billaluna community, and the police met us there, and, you know, it was a big story, but it ended up being, you know, a storm in a teacup, really. But that was, then we ended up right over in, we went back to Broome, then we went to Halls Creek, down to Carnarvon, and decided to do this trip across Australia.
So straight across?
Straight across, yeah. So that's what happened, you know.
Can I do something? Because you said there's an interview we did with Kelly yesterday that we'll put up probably tomorrow in the next few days. But while we're here, it's one thing you said that I really loved. So you had 3 camels at one point, or you had camels, but you said there was techniques you used to pick the lead camel and the camel that was at the rear.
Oh, the anchor,
but it was talking about the personality of the camel.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this is fascinating, because most people see a camel, they just think it's a big thing.
Yeah.
But you're seeing them as real personalities.
Well, it's the same. I mean, anyone with animals, horses, dogs, whatever, they will say that, they'll tell you the animal has personality, and the same with camels. They're no different to any other animal. So the lead camel needs to be brave and fearless, and an animal you trust, basically. If you're riding it especially, you want your lead camel to be a very trustworthy camel. And if you can get a really good anchor camel, that camel is the stabilising of the string. So you've got camels in between who may not be as brave. They're good workers, or, you know, good at carrying loads, but they may not want to be out the front or out the back. They're maybe a little bit spooky or whatever. Or they just want to trudge along, you know. They don't really want to be responsible. They don't want to be up front or behind like a star.
Sounds like a lot of Australians.
Your lead camel's a bit of a star, and your anchor camel is holding it all together.
When you say brave and fearless, though, what do they have to be brave and fearless? What's out there that's dangerous to them? Other camels?
Oh, it could be anything. It could be going down and crossing a river.
Okay.
It could be going onto a bridge. A lot of camels don't like walking on bridges. You want a lead camel that will lead them confidently onto the bridge, so the rest of them aren't all going, ooh, ooh, ooh. And the anchor camel's like a handbrake as well. If the others all take off, he's got to be able to, or she has got to be able to pull them and say, no, okay, this is nothing to be worried about. We're just going to tread along nice and steady here. There's no dramas. So
I'm just going to stop for a sec, because there's something about you that you said the other day that made me fall in love with you.
Ooh,
when you said from your youth, you've always been looking at horizons.
Yeah.
And so always wants over the next horizon. So it's a bit of Albie Mangle or something in you.
Oh, it must be something there. But big open horizons. I don't like being stuck up valleys. I really dislike that. There's too much wah-wah up a valley for me. and I don't like being enclosed too much, so it's big, wide open horizons where I can see the Indians coming or, whoever's coming. No, I just want to see the horizon and go there
Yeah.
and then beyond.
Yeah.
So I love that. Yeah. That's
So
always
going
been
back,
there.
so this guy you first travelled with, were you lovers?
No one in the world.
So you were just companions doing this camel trip?
Yeah, just travel companions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of us love camels, and that's all.
Because you would have spent a huge amount of time together out there.
We
alone.
did, yeah.
And what about, were swags or tents? How would you camp?
Yeah,
Swags.
just swags, yeah. And he was, he was experienced with the camels and all the rest of it. But it's very difficult to spend that amount of time with someone, especially as your goals are different.
Yeah.
Superficially, our goals were the same, but psychologically, our goals were very different. And
how do you mean? Was he after fame or something?
Oh, I think, he was a young fellow who was after fame and fortune, and I was just out on a journey, going from A to B.
How old were you at that time?
40.
You were 40. Wow.
I was 40 when I first started mucking around with the camels. So I was at a different phase of my life.
So what did you done before then? That's 40 years. Were you born in suburbia or?
No, I grew up on the north coast of New South Wales. So I grew up on a farm and was always around animals all my life. I spent years doing alternative medicine. I spent a lot of time in India in years prior to that, and had my own couple of clinics back in Australia.
Yeah.
But spent a lot of time in India. Spent a lot of time travelling. I did
that horizon stuff.
Yeah, did the backpack thing. All through Asia and Middle East and stuff like that.
Wow.
It was in the 70s and.
In the 70s. So you would have been in the Middle East, like in Afghanistan, where the women went all done up in burqas.
Yeah, didn't get to Afghanistan. They shut the borders. They shut the borders on Afghanistan as I was travelling.
Okay.
And that really upset me.
Was that because of the Russian war?
Yeah, it really upset me because Afghanistan was one country I ideally wanted to go to. And then there were problems in Iran. That's when the Shah was deposed. So there were problems there. And I was in India and I wanted to go, but I had to skip over those countries and go to Egypt. And I ended up being illegally in Pakistan, of all places, because Indian Airlines couldn't fly over Israel, I think, at the time, because they were going to Egypt. I didn't really understand at the time exactly why that was. Well, I knew at the time why that was, but I've forgotten some of it. So I ended up illegally in Pakistan because they decided to have a stopover there, which wasn't on the flight schedule, as it happens. So that's another story, but I probably won't go into that. There's a few illegalities involved in that. So I was very glad to get out of Pakistan, I can tell you.
Now, the other great thing, though, is that, I think you lost the guy in Alice Springs, the guy you've been travelling with.
Oh, yeah, we parted company around about there.
And then you took the camels to Byron Bay from Alice by yourself.
Yeah.
Don't say yeah like everybody does it. That's like it's like I'm going down to get a video out from the store, or I'm taking 3 camels along. You're a 40-year-old woman taking 3 camels across Australia is enormous.
Yeah, I just felt like, well, I don't know. I was doing it. The fact that we separated didn't make any difference to me because I was doing my own journey anyway.
Yeah.
And because our goals didn't align, really, it made no difference to me. I was much happier doing it on my own, I must admit, because, it got to the point travelling with someone else where we were misaligned and disconnected, and it wasn't very nice. So I was really happy doing it on my own and doing it my way.
Well, tell us, for the people that will never do it, and I'm guessing most people here, just tell us,
who's on
what is it? How would your day go? Like from waking up in the morning till the evening?
Waking up in the morning might be several times through the night, depending on where we were camped. And mostly the camels were tethered to a feed tree overnight. So you'd have to get up and check that they weren't tangled up. As they became more and more accustomed to to the routine, they didn't get tangled as much. But when I first got them, they were getting tangled all the time because they weren't used to being tethered at night. So you might have to get up a couple of times and untangle them or move them to some more feed, because they had to feed mostly at night. They didn't get to feed a lot through the day, which would be their normal routine, because we were travelling. They'd grab mouthfuls of feed, but they couldn't stop and just stand there and eat as they would for 10, 15 minutes on each tree or each bush. So sunrise, be up just before sunrise or around about sunrise, have something to eat, and then bring the camels in, go get them, bring them all in, and start saddling up, and then load up, which would be all your water and your swags and your feed. Packs.
So you'd unpack them all at night.
Absolutely, they have to have the loads off at night.
Yeah,
because they're carrying these big heavy loads all day, and they might get a bit of rub or whatever. Mostly, I never really had any problems with the saddles or straps rubbing, but you can get blisters. They can get blisters, but they're carrying a big load, and so of course, the first thing you do when you pull up is sit them down, take their load off, give them a bit of a brush, make sure that there's nothing, feel to make sure there's no blisters or anything there, and then find them somewhere really nice to start eating. And they'd do that for a while, and then they'd just sit down and rest and sleep, and they'd get up a few times after that and have another feed, and you might move them onto some fresh feed. So in the morning, brush them down, get all the prickles out, because as you know, this country's just full of prickles. So you'd get all the prickles out, and saddle up, load them up, and get going again.
Wow.
Yeah. And when I got the
that would have taken quite a significant amount. So you'd be getting probably a few hours getting them ready to go.
Oh, you probably do.
Or did you speed it up after?
Yeah. After a while, you just get into everything. Went to the same place every day. I mean, you did it. It was routine, really routine. Packed the same way. All the bags and packs and saddles had to be packed the same way all the time. And you just found the best way for that. And you had to weight them carefully, because you couldn't have it heavier on one side than the other. So your water, you had to make sure that if they were carrying water, they'd have water on both sides, that you had to have equal amounts of water on either side.
And this water is for you or for them?
No, for me.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to drink every day, and I never carried water for the
So
camels.
how long could they go without water?
I think the longest they went was 17 days going across the Gibson.
17 days without water?
Yeah, and
were they fading at the last 2 days?
No, they were fine. In fact, when that was going across the Gibson, and you get them used to not drinking, so you start limiting their water over a period of time before you take them off water altogether, when you don't know when you're going to get the next drink, or you don't know where the next drink's coming from. And I think in that time that there was a couple of sinkholes. We came across a couple of sinkholes, and a couple of the camels drank, and some of them didn't even drink. So they were in the swing of it, They were just being ships in the desert.
And did you have a map or a compass?
Yeah.
And were you sticking to roads, or you just...
No, tracks sometimes, roads and tracks sometimes if it was easier, or if that's where you were heading. If you were heading into a town or a community or somewhere, you'd be following a track, but a lot of it was cross-country and bush bashing. Compass. There was a GPS at one stage that was sponsored. That's when I was travelling with this other fellow, but when we split up, he took all that.
Okay. So you had none of that?
No, I didn't care, really, honestly. He sort of took most of the things, because he decided to cross the Simpson Desert, and I didn't have enough camels to do that, because we'd swapped camels in Alice Springs, left more of my camels behind, and took his across the desert.
So you need a certain one. You need to carry the water or stuff. Is that what you need?
You need to have enough camels to carry your water and your feed and your swag and your goods and all the rest of it. So I trekked back to Alice Springs. This was on the edge of the Simpson Desert, so I trekked back to Alice Springs, and that's when I built a wagon, and I had to go and get my camels.
Wait on. Can I get you to sit a bit closer in this one?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, get ready. This is now, before we move on about the thing, Do you have any questions for our guest? I have one.
How was your backside?
My backside was mighty fine.
Like it still is.
It's like larger now.
Were you ever scared?
Oh, there were a couple of occasions where things got a little bit dodgy, and
Can you share some? Because the you got to wait for the story about the what do you call it, the cart.
the wagon.
It's going to knock your socks off. But
Uh,
tell us about some of the reasons you got scared and how you handled it.
I was stalked out on the Plenty Highway
Oh, what?
by three blokes in a vehicle, and they came close to my camp one night. They'd been driving backwards and forwards along the road as I'm travelling along for a few days, and I'd had a friend from Alice Springs with me, just came with me for a week because it was the first time I had the camels in the wagon, and they were a bit gun shy too, being in a wagon. They'd never done that before. So I had to train them into harness and train them to pull the wagon. And so this friend came with me, Linda. She won't mind if I say her name. And these people had been passing us on the road, but there were two of us. So they were just looking at us and driving past and being very slow about how they were passing us and checking us out. And then she had to go back to Alice Springs. She was only along for a week. And I thought, I don't know, but I've got a feeling I'm going to have some problems because I'm on my own and these guys are watching. So the first night it happened, about, I think it was about 11 o'clock at night or something like that. They drove along and they'd seen us through the day, and I don't know whether they saw her leaving or they saw me on my own or something. But anyway, they came back. And they parked just over a slight rise, so I couldn't see the lights. I heard the lights. I saw the lights go out, and then I heard 3 car doors slam, and I thought, I think I'm in a bit of bother here.
Wow!
So at that stage I had a really good blue cattle dog, a very bitey blue cattle dog, and he was protective of me, super protective of me. I also had something else.
Good. Good.
which was quite effective.
Persuasive.
Yeah. But I didn't know. I didn't really know what I was up against.
Yeah.
So I tied the dog up at the wagon, and I grabbed something, and I headed for a community which was probably 5 kilometres away. And
with the camels or by
no,
yourself?
No. They were all tied out.
Yeah.
They were tied up to feed trees and whatever. So
you legged it?
Yeah, I legged it.
Wow.
Yeah. I just took a little companion with me, and I legged it into this community and woke them up and said, look, I'm being harassed. I've seen this car go into the community. They obviously have to go there to get fuel because it's 200k to the next fuel stop. So they're getting fuel from here. And the people there at the community said, oh, no, it's no one from this community. And I said, I think you know who they are. You know the car. It's very, very obvious. This car, you could tell by the sound of the car and the type of car it was. There was only one of them around. And so somebody came back out to the wagon with me, and they said, look, I don't think they'll come back because they took off as soon as that's right, before I legged it, I got my spotlight out. And I walked towards them with the spotlight, and they jumped in the vehicle and drove off.
Wow.
Yeah. But I saw the lights coming back in on another back track, so that's when I legged it. Yeah. And so I went back out to the wagon. They didn't come back that night, but I had to leave there. I couldn't stay there forever, so I just had to leave. There were police. There was a police station down the road some way. They came along to see me and said, here you had a bit of trouble. And I said, yes, I did. What can you do about it? And they said, oh, well, we'll just drive up and down the road a few times. I said, the car's so distinctive, you've got to see it. Nothing ever happened, so I left. And so what I used to do was just get off the road. I'd see them through the day. I'd get off the road in the afternoon.
So you saw them again?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I found out later they were working on a property, so that's why I didn't see them all the time. They were only when they were going, after they finished work, they'd come cruising up and down the road. So the thing that I didn't mention before was that when I went the next morning to where the car had pulled up that night, I found a box of spilled condoms on the road. So, you know, it was a good thing to do, get out of there.
Yeah.
So anyway, by the time I got to the next spot, I'd get off the road early every afternoon. And
So it didn't make you stop. You didn't think, okay, that's it. See you, camels. I'm running back to society.
No, well, I was heading on to the next place, so I just had to be careful. And I got off the road every day early, went as far into the bush as I could, lit a little fire, cooked my dinner, put the fire out, and then just bunkered down for the night.
Wow.
And I'd hear the car go up and down the road, but they didn't find me.
Why looking for you?
Oh, I don't know.
Wow.
Maybe they were just cruising.
So it was
Who
really
knows?
loud, was it?
You could hear it had a very distinctive note. Yeah.
Wow.
So by the time I got to the next stop, which was about 200k, so that took me a while. I'm only travelling at about 25 to 30k a day at the most. So it took me a week or more to get there. I was getting a bit riled up about the whole thing. I was getting really cranky about it. So I pulled up at this stop on the side of the road, and I'd only been there for whatever, half an hour, and they come again, and they pulled in. But I saw them coming, and I thought, okay, this is it. So I got my my little friend out and I was giving it a good clean, and got my dog with me. And when they pulled up, I just jumped straight off the wagon and headed for them, with both companions. And I was cranky. I was really cranky by then. And anyway, one of them who was out of the car jumped up on the bonnet and he said, "Oh, does that dog bite?" And I said, "It sure does, and it's going to get you too if you don't
Yes.
get out of here."
You can swear on the show.
Get
like,
out
fuck,
here.
see? People survive.
And leave me alone,
Yeah.
just get the hell out of my bloody face and stop following me around.
Wow.
And I said, the police know about you, and I did get some help at the next community because these fellas had to come in those days. They were paid by cheque, and they had to come in and cash their cheques at the local community store. And I told the storekeeper about it, and he said, when you see them, he said, I know who they are. When you see them, give me the nod. And he said, I'll tell you who they are. I'll tell you their names. And so I got their names, and then I rang it through to the police, and end of story.
Wow.
I also went to the elder on the community, who was a dear old woman, and I said to her, these boys are giving me problems, and she was really funny. She said, "Oh, maybe they like you," and I said, "Yeah, but I'm old enough to be their bloody grandmother, so I think they should leave me alone because I don't go into anyone else's camp and give them a hard time. I think they should leave me alone." End of story. No more problems after that. So that was one. I was, that wasn't nice.
Gutsy.
It wasn't a nice experience.
No, but gutsy didn't make you stop.
No, it didn't make me stop, but it made me cranky.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit upset.
Yeah.
So anyway, they got an earful, and obviously they got more than one earful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only trouble you had, you told me, with the police was when you actually reached Byron or somewhere that you gone all across Australia and the police stopped you. Was that another story?
No, I don't know that one.
Oh, I must have.
You're confusing me with someone else, I think.
Yeah, I don't know many camel women.
No, I didn't have any trouble with the police. In fact, the police were very good. They helped me. I left my wagon at the police station when I decided to leave the wagon behind because I couldn't drag it over the Great Dividing Range.
Wait on. We've gone too far. We've got to tell them about the wagon.
Okay.
The voice wagon you built.
The wagon. This was the first wagon, and I was in Alice Springs and thought, okay, it'd be good if I could buy a wagon, but of course you can't just buy a wagon quickly. I didn't want to muck around too long there because it was the middle of summer.
I'm just going to change the ISO on the camera to get some more light. So
okay. Yeah.
I'll chat away.
You need some light.
It
I
was.
can do this.
It was middle of summer, so I didn't want to hang around there too long. Couldn't find one to buy, so I thought I'll have to build
We should
one.
get you in the middle.
Hey? No, I'm fine here. Yeah. You go in the
Easy
middle.
escape.
Yeah. You got one of us on either side there.
Benefits of having short legs.
Don't I know it? Yeah, so I found, I don't even know where this was. I found someone had a chuck wagon. So a chuck wagon is a big, heavy wagon that the drovers use. It's like their tucker wagon. But it was heavy and it had a lot of steel in it, big plate steel in it. So I bought that wagon. I cut the steel out. Got the people at the showground. There was a fellow there that was a caretaker and he loaned me a big grinder. So I cut that out.
You cut it out.
Yeah. And and then replace that with some really thin steel. That was the base of the wagon. And now frame, I did get someone to help me do some welding on it because I can't weld, don't have all that gear. So I put a bit of a frame on it and then went to the tip.
Like over the top.
Yeah, something that I could put some cover on. Went to the tip at Alice Springs in the days when you could rat and found, luckily, someone had dropped off a whole lot of Grace Brothers removalist boxes there and they were really sturdy. And I found 4 of those. And I made up benches and shelves and storage around the edges of the wagon on the inside and cut a couple of holes in the side, and so that I had an outside kitchen and an outside mechanical workshop in those boxes. And one of them I put my bed on and the others were, food and this and that and one thing or another. Oh, and I didn't tell you this the other day, I got 2 beer kegs and I put them on the back and they became my water tanks. And I put gutters on so that when it rained, on the rare occasion that it did rain, and I'd attach a hose to it and it would fill up those beer kegs.
Wow.
Or if I got to a hose or a tap, I'd just fill them up with a hose. So that was pretty good. It looked like
Did
a
you
rocket.
mention I missed? You had corrugated iron on the roof.
Yeah, I got
So this is like Mad Max's wagon.
yeah, it was a little bit like that. And a corrugated iron roof and an old car out of a wreck, an old car seat out of a wreck. So
Do you know what car seat it was? Do you know what car it
I
was?
can't remember.
It was
no.
like a bench seat.
No, it wasn't a bench seat. It was a recliner. Yeah. I wanted
Well, you
do
got to have
this in
some luxury.
comfort. Yeah, I had to do it in comfort. So put the recliner on, put a kickboard on, and then my friend that had travelled with me for that first week, she made me some lovely canvas curtains and sides to go around it. So, and I have to say that was an amazingly sturdy and efficient wagon
It
because
sounds amazing.
I went through cyclones and I never got wet in that thing. I'd zip those sides up, that canvas up, and I never had any leaks and it never got
Wow.
wet. And I went through.
Did you have to
several
get it
cyclones.
roadworthy?
I think it would have passed. Yeah, I'm sure it would have passed. Yeah. So it was a bit of a wild show when I first went on the road, especially as the camels didn't like pulling it, So
But did you have to stay on the road? You couldn't bush bash after that?
I couldn't bush bash. I could
Okay.
go on tracks, but I had to stick to tracks and
Yeah.
roads because you can't go through trees and, that with the wagon as you can with the camel that's just,
So
trekking
what did
along.
Aussies think of you, like trucks and truck drivers think when they come across and here's this woman on this
Oh,
amazing looking, what do you call it, cart with all these camels?
yeah, it was interesting. I met lots of people on the
I
road.
bet.
So many people, and sometimes too many, because you might pull up somewhere and think, oh, well, I have to have a toilet break or something, and next thing someone pops up with a camera. I'm going, could you just get the hell out of here? A little bit of privacy. So yeah, sometimes a little bit too many, and people would always ask the same question, so you have a little bit of a patter, and a lot of people thought, like yourselves, I'm doing it on the dole, but I did it on my own savings. I'd sold a house over on the coast, and I lived off the proceeds of that for years while I was doing this and other things.
Well,
and
it wouldn't have cost you much money once you're out there, surely. Just the water and food and stuff.
Yeah, food. I mean, food was nothing. Water
Because
was
no fuel.
No fuel. I had to have really good veterinary supplies.
Okay.
And it was
What
the
were some
cost.
of the issues they got as for needed fetish stuff?
Mainly mechanical issues. One camel ended up with a swamp cancer. which I had to treat. And
Swamp cancer.
yeah,
What's that?
some animals get it. It's just a cancer they get from.
Swamps.
I don't know. It's probably some bacteria or virus or something or other.
And how did the cancer? Was it like a fat? You could see
no,
it.
it was on her foot. It was
Oh.
on her foot, so I had to treat that, and we ended up sorting that out. So that was good. And so you have to have a lot of supplies like that, and all the gear cost a lot. You know, it's not just the wagon itself. I had to buy all the bits and pieces apart from, from what I could recycle, but harness gear. I had to buy good harness gear and chains and clips and ropes and all sorts of things. So you have to have really good gear. That type of gear has to be good. Like all my saddles had to be really good and well made, and so you don't go cheap on those, but I'd go cheap on everything else. As far as the wagon itself, the Mad Max.
Goodbye saying you'd only be doing 25, 30 k's a day though, and so the trip from Alice to Byron, what was that, a month or how long? Or...
No way. The whole thing was, I think, took me 18 months from
18 months.
Deep Point to Byron. From Alice, I think it was about. I think it ended up, because I ended up being in Alice for a couple of months, getting all this sorted and doing the wagon and training the camels. So I think I left there in January. It was stinking hot. I mean, to be leading Alice Springs, doing that in January. And I arrived at Byron Bay, I think, in October. So that was about 10 months.
Wow.
Yeah, doing that part of it.
When you got to the end of it, did you feel like I'm so glad it's over, or did you wish the country was 3 times as big because I'd just like to keep going?
I wanted to have a bit of a break. Yeah, I really did. I felt like I just wanted to put my feet up, and I wanted to give them a break as well, because they'd done such an enormous job.
And you lost one, didn't you? You had to leave one behind or something.
I left one behind, because she ended up with a stone bruise, and I went back and picked her up later.
And a stone bruise is a stone hurting a foot.
She stood on a stone or maybe a piece of glass or something like that, and she ended up with this foot injury, so I couldn't have her limping along, and she couldn't carry a weight, and she was the best camel for carrying weight, so she was basically superfluous to the whole show at that stage. Yeah.
So it was
She
a big
was a
loss
dead
though,
weight.
if she's carrying weight.
Yeah.
You've got to put the weight somewhere else.
But I suppose in one way it wasn't too bad, because then I only had two. I only had two to look after, and it meant that I had to walk from the last 900 kilometres, but I had to spread the weight over the 2 camels rather than over 3. So
you stopped riding one and you just led the camels.
Yeah, I just
so you walked 900 kilometres.
Yeah, and I had the wagon up until then, so the riding side of it was in the first half of the trip.
Yeah.
And then I had the wagon, and I
There's
walked a
2
lot.
camels pulling the carrot.
Yeah, 2 pulling the wagon. I walked a lot when I had the wagon because, I just needed to get out and walk. I didn't want to sit there the whole time.
Yeah.
That would
But
get
that
to be a
20
bit
k's a
boring.
day, it's a big walk.
It's a big walk. I ended up with some issues with my hips, after all this, and my feet as well. But also, I had to encourage them to keep walking, because when we were just traveling in a string, they could eat. We were walking in and out of the trees, so they could grab mouthfuls of food, and that kept them going. But when we're on the road, they couldn't do that. They'd try and get off to the side and grab mouthfuls of food, but they couldn't, because we'd be down ditches, and plus they're dragging a wagon around. So I would often walk along or walk ahead of them and break off branches and feed them, and just stand in front of them with the branch, basically the donkey and the carrot.
Yeah.
And that would keep them walking then. So
Wow.
I was out there breaking off food for them all day and encouraging them to keep on walking. Yeah.
What about hills? I mean, significant hills.
Hills
that
were
must be
hard. Hills were very difficult for them,
Yeah.
and that's why I left the wagon before I got to any major hills.
Yeah.
So when they had the wagon, the hills were a major issue, and they don't breach like a horse. A horse can basically hold a wagon going down a hill, but a camel can't really do that.
Okay.
So they wouldn't have been able to come down the range either. The wagon would have run over.
But the whole thing from Alice to there isn't flat, so you must have had some
I had some hills.
significant challenges with those hills.
Yeah. And of course I had brakes and everything on the wagon, hand brakes. So
Oh, okay.
I could brake the wagon. and I had two. I had a safety brake as well, because if one brake goes and you're going downhill, you're in
See you
trouble.
later.
See you later and goodbye camels, because we would have run straight over them. They couldn't outrun it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had two brakes. Yeah. So.
You're extraordinary. You really do realize that. I know you're just taking it like, yeah, it's about camels.
Yeah.
But it's actually quite extraordinary. I mean, the other woman that did it, they made a great film about her and all this. But you were just doing it.
Yeah. Well, Robin Davies did that trip from Alice Springs to Steep Point, and I thought she was absolutely incredible.
Mm.
It was an amazing thing that she did, and she was very young when she did it as well. And she had.
Oh, I'm not putting her down. I'm just
No.
saying that it's astonishing.
She did. She had some backup and sponsors. Financial sponsors, and I think she had a book deal, and maybe ended up with a movie and all the rest of it. So there was that side of it, and she's like a professional traveller. And makes money out of it. And she did another trip through India as well with camels.
Okay.
Yeah,
I hadn't heard that.
and she's a rider. She's a great rider.
Mm.
But it wasn't like, I never ever gave that any thought after I read about her doing that back in the 70s, whenever it was. That was sort of like, oh yeah, okay, that was that. And then when this happened, it was an entirely different thing. And I never thought, someone said to me, oh, you're going to do a Robin Davidson? And I went, no, I'm not trying to do anything that she did. This is just something that happened and came along, and I'm not trying to do the same thing or better it or anything like that.
You just wanted the adventure.
I just wanted to do it, and it was amazing. Yeah.
So now you live in Lightning Ridge. How did you get from camels to Lightning Ridge?
Camels brought me here actually, because when I came out here, it looked like good camel country, and I was looking for somewhere to put my camels. And this was good camel country, so I decided, and I came here, saw the opals, and the same thing happened as when I met the camels. I saw the opals and I got a bit obsessed with the opals. So I ended up with another obsession, didn't I? And I thought, no, this is pretty cool. I think I could, I could stay here for a while. And
so how long have you been here?
I staked a claim here in 2004.
And have you ever staked a claim anywhere before? Or is that something new?
No, that's a new thing.
So you're in your 50s then, or?
I would have been around about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So you're at your 50s and you're still doing something brand new that you've never done.
Oh, God, I hope I'm doing, something brand new I've never done next month.
Listen, this is it. It's
because
back into
this is the end of an era for me out here. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So as soon as I sell my camp, I'm out of here.
Well, that's the thing, selling a camp, because here there was, like, this castle was built probably without a permit. The place is incredible, but now the council or the government's coming in with lots more regulation, and you're the only one here really been fighting that.
Oh no, there's other people been doing it.
Okay, fair enough. I haven't heard that.
I've been doing my own battle. I've been doing my own battle.
And what's their thing though? Why are they suddenly wanting more regulation here when it seems to have been looking after itself quite well?
It's happening all over the world, isn't it? I mean, it's happening on a national scale. This over-regulation and more regulation, and let's make it better for you people, which is not really better for you people at all. It involves a whole lot of new regulations, legislation or amendments to legislation, more money in the coffers for every other person, and less freedom for anybody who's living like we're living out here.
Yeah. And freedom is the key word. That's
my word. That's my key word.
So this is, you are as free as, incredibly free, the things that you've done, and that's why I say and the same with you. You're the same with Gary here. They seem to be coming after anybody who wants freedom, without even, maybe they're not doing it on purpose, but it's like in the Wild West where they said everywhere you went, suddenly the Wild West became barbed wire. Everything's been...
Yeah. It's a creep,
It's a creep, yeah.
It's a creep that's happening all over the country, and we're no exception.
Well, as a woman who has done these extraordinary things, and you have done extraordinary things, and I actually believe this country is built for people who want to dream and do wild things. The country's is here. You can do it.
Australia was like that.
Yeah. So what are your view of what's happening in Australia now, if it's in the last 5 years to here?
Saddens me. saddens me what's happening and what has happened to this country in my lifetime. So, I'm 70. From the freedoms that I knew in the past to how things are now, I feel suffocated. I feel absolutely suffocated and strangulated by what's going on in this country. And I have grave concerns for the country and where we're heading, which, as far as I'm concerned, is down the shit chute really fast. I'm afraid of socialism. I'm afraid of Marxism and communism in this country. And we're becoming so overregulated, it feels like we're on this inevitable slippery slope that people aren't necessarily, they can't see that it's a bad thing. There's a lot of people that can't see that it's a bad thing. They just think you're being paranoid or you're being fearful or you're part of the conspiracy theorist mob. And maybe those people have never known a level of freedom that they feel that anything's different.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what I'm thinking, but I feel it absolutely in my bones. I feel it like barbed wire wrapped around me.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me.
Yeah.
So that level of freedom has gone, and we have to struggle to hold on to as much as we can or to fight back against it. And I'm in for it. I'm up for it. I'm up for it. I'm 70. So what? What have I got to lose? Absolutely nothing.
I was going to ask, do you have anything to say? Because I'm going to ask you a question.
No, I just admire Kel so much for being true to herself and doing what she's doing.
We all are.
I think she's amazing. Yeah, I feel so blessed to be here.
Oh,
What do you
God
think of
love.
what you just said, though, about how the suffocating of the country?
Absolutely. I 100% feel that. And, what do we do apart from be true to ourselves? Just keep being you.
Yeah, I guess that's one thing we do. We fly in the face of all of this. So we just go and do what we want to do anyway, hit it head on.
Do you think, and this is out straight out there, now what you said before, that some people have never been free, and Gary, you might agree with this, is that there's some people who've just either left school, gone to uni, got one job, stayed, just lived in their little cubicle. And so if someone comes to us to take away their freedom, well, they don't really know what they're talking about because it doesn't affect them because maybe they're not that free. And so it's like the people who haven't had freedom are doing nothing while the people who covet freedom are losing theirs.
Yeah.
I remember early on when this was all happening, I've looked back at rants I did before I started Cafe Lockdown, and I'm going, why aren't we talking about the loss of our freedom? Dan Andrews was getting on Facebook or the TV and going, we're going to have to remove some of your freedoms, and I was thinking, hang on, can't we talk about this? But everyone's going, we've never been free. The comments were going, oh, no, that's good. You take our freedoms and fix the problem, give them back to us. I'm thinking, what the F are you talking about? But these people did not care that their freedoms were being taken away, which made me and they said, we've never been free. And I used to say to them, well, you might not have been, but I have. I'm free in my head. I'm free in my spirit.
And your speech.
Speech and
yeah,
absolutely.
Your movement.
Yeah.
Just being able to move and go and do things that you'd like to do. But now it's just signs everywhere, signs blocking up the scenery.
Yeah.
And making
barbed
my
wire
mind
everywhere.
crazy and barbed wire. And if people are happy not doing adventurous things, that's fine. There's not a problem with that. Like, I don't think that everyone it sounds arrogant to say that everyone needs to be out there having adventures. Not everyone wants to do that.
No, that's right.
Things that are dear to them might be having a family and having their home beautiful or their land beautiful and their garden and all the rest of it, and doing good works. And there's not a thing wrong with that. But we don't need anybody, and especially a government, coming in and telling us that now you can't do this. If you're happy to stay at home and do what you've always done, and you don't really notice that your freedom has been impinged upon, that's fine. However, if you're used to being able to go and do what you want to do, and that's what is the most important thing to you in your life, which it is to me, is being free to do what I want to do, within all the necessary and relative reasons. We should be able to still do that. And the fact that we can't say anything anymore without people jumping on us or being offended, you can't have rational discussions, you can't have reasonable debates, because if you say something that doesn't align with what the mainstream media or the popular narrative is, I can't live like that. I really can't. It's a struggle. Having a foot in both worlds, trying to have a foot in both worlds. And I can't exist in that world where my freedoms are being taken away. I just can't do it.
Well, your spirit is someone, and I agree. You said
crushed.
You look at the horizon, what's over it. Some people, a lot of people say, like, say I was from Wales. My father told me there were people in one valley who've never been to the other valley, which is just over the mountains. They've never been there. So some people want to live that way.
That's fine.
And and they actually have the freedom to live without freedom, but the option should always be there. If you want to do something like this, or you want to be free or talk freely, you should be allowed. There's, like, Gary, you're a perfect example. You say what you want as you want it. You've got your own poetry to it. I love it. And you should be celebrated for that. But instead, if you were living in Melbourne now, say you were my age, a working job, you'd be sacked because you're too outspoken. You've said the wrong thing. You're offensive. They get rid of you. So you're not allowed to exist. And that's what I'm saying. This town we're in now, from what I've seen, is full of scrub bulls. And what I mean by that, I mean it. In scrub bulls, so if there's a big property, there's cows. I know you've got your own version of scrub bulls. We might not go there today. There's so if you live in a property, they've got a scrub bulls, and a scrub bull is a bull that's born, hasn't seen a fence, doesn't know man exists, thinks it's the biggest beautiful thing around, and it's the king of all it sees, the duke of what it sees. But the farmers want them gone because they don't want them to breed with the cows, because if they breed with the cows, the calves have a sense of freedom. They want compliance. This is the theory that we've been told by cattle ranchers. So the farmer wants the cows to breed with compliant cows, so they'll just walk placidly into the yards and into the abattoir, the truck heading to the abattoir. So they kill these scrub bulls. They get rid of them so they can have a herd they can control. And my concern in Australia is they're coming after people like you, Gary, people like you, in a way, because they want the greater herd to be compliant. And you guys can spread the freedom just through existing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe we'll give people the wrong idea.
That's right. Suddenly, who knows, Grandma Jan Murphy here, she used to, 3 weeks from now, she might be out there with a camel. Who knows what you might be doing? I don't know if she's watching tonight.
I'd love that, Jan. I'll see you out there. I'll meet you out there. But, we really do have to resist. We have to resist.
Do you have any idea what you'd like to do next?
Yeah. I know what I'm doing next. Well, what I planned, but, best laid plans and all that sort of stuff. I would have been out of here 3 years ago if I had done what I wanted to do at the time, before all this muck around started with the titles here.
Do you know, I used to read a book. My parents gave it to me when I was about 15 or maybe younger, might have been even younger. And it was a woman who was retired. She was 60 and she'd retired. She'd worked as a nurse all her life. And she bought a little yacht, learned how to sail it, and sailed around the world.
Yeah.
And everyone thought she was crazy, but she sailed all around the world. And then when she was coming back into Sydney, after completing, she ran aground and it sunk inside of her home. I can't remember her name. I'll get it off my parents. But I always found her inspiring.
Yeah.
And what she said was, and then years later, I was on the road. I was a young guy. And I was sitting in this bus depot and I was surrounded by boring looking people. I was thinking, can I pick up? Can I this? And next to me was this really old lady. And she's probably not that old. I was in my 18, so she was probably like 50,
40.
but she looked old. And I thought, she looks really boring. She wasn't. She was traveling the world. Her husband had died. The family wanted to settle down and be safe, but she sold everything up and she was just traveling the world, being free. And I always remembered her.
Yeah.
And I remember the people who are doing extraordinary things, like especially like yourself, they stay with me because they inspire you to go. You don't know what you can do. You just don't know what you can do or what you're capable
That's
of.
a new chapter.
Because when you were 20, did you really think I have it in me to drive camel train right across Australia?
No, I never thought about doing that. However, I did say I can remember sitting in the car with a couple of work fellows one day. I used to work construction out in the bush, and we were travelling out there in the car, and I said, one day I'm going to do something really, really different. I don't know what it is.
Wow.
I don't know where or what or how. And they laughed at me, and I said, it's going to be something really different, and it's going to be big
Wow.
for me.
Yeah, I get it. I don't fly here.
So that's even though I never planned on doing exactly what I did, I just knew that there was a big adventure in store for me.
Yeah.
And there's more than one adventure in all of this.
Well, that makes a life worth.
Yeah.
It's like your life is a novel, and you want to read a novel that the angels want to read.
You do, and you want to make each chapter as interesting as you can, and come out the other end thinking, well, that's a life well lived. As I think that's who is it? Facey? Facey wrote that book, or the movie was made about Facey, A Life Well Lived. So I've got some plans for after here, but it's pretty laid back, So just travelling around. I've got a bus. I might trade that in and get something a little bit more permanent, because I don't want a permanent place anymore.
No.
And some overseas travel,
cool.
And just some more travelling in Australia, and just catching up with a lot of people that I haven't seen for a long time. I've got friends all over the place, so I'd like to go and have some reunions.
I want to motivate you. Come here.
Write the book.
Who thinks she should write a book? Because she says she's been writing a book. It's in
the pipeline.
It's in the pipeline. But who thinks she should write the book and then use the funds from the book or maybe the movie to actually fund a thing? I think, and it's not that you just did the camel train, but it's the philosophy of living. It's like the other woman we met who rode across the Atlantic. She wanted to do something extraordinary. And I'm not saying everybody wants to do that, but I think now where they're closing in on us, now is the time to start living whatever you want to do.
Do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Don't question it. Don't think, can I do this, or will I be allowed to do this, or this is going to be difficult. I've got so many bridges to cross to get to the point where I can do it. Just do it.
Take every bridge one by one.
Just make up your mind, and then make your plan.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Well, we want to do a thing today because we knew about this place and we were invited to come. But this morning we were thinking, it rained all last night. The road will probably be boggy. So Fear was saying the road will be boggy. You've got a funny sound in the front, which might be a shocky or something that could damage it. So Fear was going, you shouldn't do it. And then we called you up and said, look, we don't think we can do it. So we're giving into fear and being sensible, but it was fear. But then you talked about the bees outside of your property and the bees. And I just thought, you didn't even know, and I just thought, let's go.
Yeah.
So we got here to the press and we thought, we'll just take it bit by bit. But we came.
Yeah.
And here we are. And it's been an extraordinary day.
So
by ignoring fear and pushing through fear, you end up with an extraordinary adventure.
You have a great adventure, and the bees are here all the time, so of course you had to be here. I'd like to say at this point, enough talking about me, I'd like to say I want to make mention to all the people out there that are doing these podcasts that have kept us going all this time, because it's been 5 years of absolute bullshit, and fear in there for me. I fear for my freedom sometime. And we didn't know what was around the corner, and the ostracism and everything that happened, the discrimination and the abuse. I would like to say a huge, huge thank you to all those people out there like Kelly and Michael that are doing this, to all the others, Hoodie and them, Wayno and the Mad WTF. mob or the park.
Wayne, she loves you.
I love Wayne. I'm so in love with Wayne. But Kelly here is she's trying to outpace me on this one, so we might have a little bit of a competition running.
Fan
Oh,
club.
Michael, didn't you know
Wayne
that?
fan club.
Yeah, I mean, we're a double fan club going here. The Kelly fan club for Wayne. Oh, God, I love him. And Mark up in
Mark Batt.
him, Batty, and Robin. You know, the most relentless
we have to
woman.
We have to talk about Robin, because Robin has been banned from Substack.
Yes,
Because they asked her to do age verification. Now, Robin is clearly over 16. In fact, I think she's got a 12-year-old kid or 11.
Yeah.
So she's clearly over. But what's happening, and this is to all of you out there, it's imagine that we're living in a darkening world, and the podcasters, all of them, anyone who's doing a podcast is standing up to this from, is it Madeline up in the north?
Madeline King.
Madison King
yeah.
to, there's so many great ones. There's a guy that does building. I've had him on. I can't remember his name. I think he's brilliant. There's so many, but all of them are lights in the darkness.
They are.
And so what happened last night with Substack is Robin's light went out in Substack.
Yeah.
And when they're going to come to this thing on December the 27th, I believe they're determined to start putting our lights out. So if you felt the only way you got through the last 5 years was listening to Hoodie and all these other podcasters, from Dave O'Neggs, who's a gorgeous guy, to all those, you imagine they're all going out, and all you're going to be left with is people who are basically imitating MSN.
No, it won't happen, Michael. It won't happen because, you know, there's ways around it. We found ways around
Well,
this
Substack,
before.
the only reason we're concerned is Substack, was not on the list. They were exempt.
Okay.
And they're still doing it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's shaken us. If Facebook had done it, we were ready for it. We're still ready for it.
Yeah.
There's so many people contacting me. Can you change on Substack? Can you change me to Proton Mail? So everyone's getting ready for it. But we thought Substack, we thought Facebook at first, Instagram, but to have Substack do it, which they don't have to do it, they're just abiding by the laws. That's freaky.
I'm hoping that the kids and the young people are going to lead the charge.
Yeah,
here,
me too.
because they're into it in so much more depth than what I could ever be, and us that haven't grown up with it. So I'm hoping they do it. But really, you know, all these people that I talked about, and, you know, I hate to single out Wayno because Tom and, you know, PJ and all the rest of it, they're fantastic. And I love the No Goat show. I just love that. Bruce Pay, Dr. Bruce Pay, Miley, Trin. You know, there's some amazing people out there that have been those.
Mark Neugebauer is amazing work.
He's with Dr. Bruce Pay,
But he has his own podcast as well.
Commanding the Narrative.
Yeah.
You know, there's a whole lot of them out there. That Winston Marshall that I spoke about today, Neil Oliver, I love Neil Oliver, the Scottish podcaster. So there's a lot of people out there that are giving us hope and giving us more information about what's going on than we'll ever get from any other source. So, I just want to do that huge shout out because, and I guess a lot of the people making comments in the audiences are going to also be on those pages as well, because that's what kept us going and keeps us going.
That's a question. Who's your favourite podcaster?
You know, not sucking up the compliments here.
There's well, look, I'm going to tell you a thing about hope that I'm learning, because I had the heart attack. Everyone looks at me, you okay? You go, yeah, I am. I'm actually brilliant. But it's been an interesting journey for all of us. Mine's just another interesting journey. I call it an odyssey. But Kel and I found each other on this road. Now, Kel, I know you've done one thing, but let's just come here while we've got Kel here. How many jobs did you lose and in the COVID era?
I lost 2 jobs.
Now, you gone?
So I was working at the hospital, and I knew I was going to get the sack from there. So I applied for a job in local disability service, and I worked for another month after I got sacked in September 21. And so I did all the online mandatory training through there and saw that they had plenty of barriers with their
And wasn't it called No Barriers or something?
Yeah, it was called Life Without Barriers.
But they had a barrier.
Huge. Yeah. So it wasn't
Now, you weren't seeing anyone then where you were on your own?
absolutely on my own.
So you're on your own. So that's what everyone was terrified about, being ostracized, but you took it. And how did you manage to stay sane? Because you only had a rental, right?
Yeah, so social media, I saw you online, and Hoodie, Sam, the weather girl from up north, lots of people from around the world, different podcasters, and that's what kept me sane. And also local groups in Lismore. There was a lady there who opened her home up basically to anyone, and it was like our soul family just came out of the woodwork, and that's how I've survived.
Now, you saw me. I'm not doing this for bragging, but I'm doing it because the magic of it. So you saw me at Epic. No, listen, there's a point to this. You saw me at Epic, right?
Yeah.
And what did you like about me?
I loved the fact that you looked full of joy. And
Do you know it then?
I mean, sure, you're easy
No, that's it. That's it.
You're easy on the eye. And
But the thing was, I was having fun in a world where it was going down the gurgler, and that was from Epic.
Yeah.
So I go around Australia, and I was leaving everything behind. I was losing everything. So the only reason I was staying sane really was my purpose. I was just working hard and hard because I felt that's how I was staying sane, because I knew what people were watching me. So that gave me purpose in a time where I'd lost everything I thought I needed. I get to Lismore, and we meet, and now we're this couple. It's working really well. And that made me realize I had to go to Canberra. I felt it in me. I had to go. When Cret and I left, I had to go on this trip around Australia. I remember telling Hoodie, someone has to go see if there's resistance in every town. So I had to go. So I followed a calling in my heart, and that calling in my heart led to Kelly, and now Kelly's with me. Do you feel you're meant to be with me?
100%.
If we've done this in this dark time, which is supposed to be Armageddon, we followed our hearts and souls. You said no to the jobs. You didn't give in. You listened to your instincts. I listened to my instincts and went there. We found each other, and now we have this great relationship. Surely that means there's hope for us all. Surely that means that something out there good has our back. And what is now, yes, it's despairing that we can't wake anyone up, but we have to have faith that we're on the part of a side that is doing something good and that someone does have our back. It is time to have faith that we are a gorgeous community. I mean, look, I've only met you yesterday and I'm in love with you. That's Gary. I just think it's amazing. And you stayed with us from the moment you've stayed with us. We've often talked about you, this.
We go back a long way. And prior to us meeting, we went back even further. So
yeah,
there
maybe
you go, right from the start.
Yeah,
I was hooked into the podcasts, and I went, "Oh my God, hello, someone speaking my lingo."
Yeah.
So yeah.
And what I'm saying is, fear at any point, fear could have seen you go, stuff it. I need the job. I'm rental, and you could have given in, and we would never have met. Fear, like me, could have said, "What are you doing? Your plays are going to New York. Shut up and just take it and stay silent." So. Fear had everything in it. Everything fear had was like, you're nuts. You're crazy. What are you doing? You're driving a camera. What are you doing? Fear could at any point stop me doing this live, as it could have stopped you doing the camel train. It could have said, "You're crazy. You're 40 years old. You're going out with camels." But you didn't listen to fear.
Well, it's not loud enough for me.
No, but you had an extraordinary life. What I'm saying, my life now is, every day is interesting. It's extraordinary. There's a lot of challenges, but we go through. And so what I'm saying is all the other side is offering you is fear. Fear of climate change, fear of everything. That's why they always use the word safe. We'll keep you safe. We'll keep you safe. That they're feeding the fear. And what I'm saying, like you riding to Darwin on a postie bike, so many people would be, the bike's too small. It won't run. Fear could have talked you out of it, but it didn't. You had an extraordinary adventure. My thing to you all is look at fear. If fear is telling you things, separate it out of you, sit it in your room, look at it and say, you know what? I've given you all of this. What have you given me? And really really honestly answer that question, and your life will change.
Mm.
Because you're in an abusive relationship with fear.
And with yourself. If you're not realizing full potential,
Mm.
you're in an abusive relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
You're not honoring yourself. And I think we owe it to ourselves and to the world, the universe, and whatever forces behind all of us and lives within us. We owe it to ourselves to do that. It's our duty to live our life to our full potential.
I love that. Tell me what you said before starting the show about how you like the idea of dying with a lot.
When I die, I think we we're talking about headstones and funerals and everything earlier on. And
No, you stay here. You're staying here. He can get behind.
I keep on saying,
Actually, come around, guys.
I hope that I die. I don't want to go into a home. Not many people do, but I hope I die under a tree, and you can just stuff me up that hollow log nearby and set fire to it, and that'll do me.
I love that.
How about you? What's your thoughts on fear?
Well, there's fear, there's fearless, and it can slow you down, but there is an outlook. And I've worked a fair bit on mental apathy and your mindset. As we know, the mind is a fantastic thing. I've been able to achieve a few things through target shooting and things you wouldn't believe of, but I've realised that the mind, and I worked on a mindset for 20 years.
You're a castle man.
And he's the king of the castle.
You're
as
a
well.
king of the castle in the middle of the bush. You've achieved something.
Yeah, no, and that's we've all got it in us, but it's the gutsy, it's the ballsy thing, and it's the guts, and it's the fear of someone else thinking what you're doing, but you shouldn't be doing. So there's a reverse psychology, and oh, you wouldn't do that, or go and do that. So there's a mindset of oh, you wouldn't do that, or you're not going to go and do that. So other people's thoughts slow down or stop people doing what they want to do, because someone will say, oh, you know, there's a doubt. They put doubt. So doubting Thomas, we've heard about him for a long time, but you can hurl him out the window and have a crack. And anyone's not too sure where to go, what to do, you're welcome to come out here in any shape or form, and I'll put you up, whether you ride a bike or a bloody scooter or a wheelbarrow.
Or a camel.
Or a camel.
Yeah. So, you know, there's an offer there to come out in the bush and have a crack at just doing even this far.
Yeah.
We're just getting a breath
I'm just
of
going to move
fresh
to
air.
Cal to go.
Yeah.
What about you? Come on, we always see you. The fashion shots you're doing, I love it. You are the most elegant woman in the freedom movement that I've met.
No, I'm the most elegant woman in the bus.
Kel, don't underrate yourself, darling. You're gorgeous.
And it's all thanks to the op shops around Australia. So, what was the question? No,
What are your thoughts on fear?
my thoughts on fear is it's like the devil in your head. I think you can choose to feed it, or you can observe it and make it small, and eventually your strength will shine through.
My thoughts on fear is that, and I think it's deeper than just personal us, this way they're controlling us and bringing us in and squashing, like you're concealing it. Fear is their virus against you, and you don't cure it with a vaccine. Your courage is your only cure, and that's what we have to do as a country. We have to reignite our courage and tell all these people who want to take away our freedom, fuck off. Good night.
When I met Jesus Christ, he was almost 10 years old, and he was helping his push a trolley full of all they owned. And because they couldn't find an inn they could get in, they were heading to the city and leaving Bethlehem. Couldn't you perform a miracle? I'm out of them, he said. I tried turning nothing into warmth, but it just made my mother cry. It just made my mother cry. Mary Magdalene has become a man, and tonight he's old, and she has been riding my tram. Now it's late and she's trying to sleep beneath a poster for a bank. Your dreams are important to us as it bathes her face in gold. Come give us your natural gifts. We make wealth from toil. Come pretend for history's page that we're advancing Australia. Let's pretend that we're all advancing Australia fair. Back down the road I found the church we built on the black man's bones was empty, and out the front a sign read all but sold. A sign read all but sold. And we all owe so much money, but to whom we're not quite sure. So head